So, what's going on, peeps? I thought I would take the time now to clearly re-explain, because I'll be explaining it and answering your questions in class, but this video can help you if you didn't find that sufficient. This is a professional email here worth 2.5%. So I've taken a screenshot from your books, and I'll show you that in a few minutes. I can show you the online version where I took it from. So if you look on page 28 of your Language B book, okay, this is the image that I took from page 28, and you're going to be writing a 450 to 600 word professional email pretending that you are writing for a student science journal, and your job is to summarize these 5 charts. Now, I put student science journal because I'm not going to get you to write for a real science journal, which would mean a much higher degree of register, of vocabulary, and all kinds of really crazy grammar, a lot of passives in there that we've been studying as well. So perhaps the one thing I could have you look at is also the passive voice, which we've been doing in the Real 3. Use page 30 to help you differentiate the different types of communication that are available. All right, and I'm going to show you that again in just a moment. Now, this is a more general kind of task. It's not related to Bradbury. I thought I'd kind of introduce you more to what the IB will be getting you to do, which is something more generic that anybody in the world studying English as a language B, like you, can write about. So they're not going to be writing about kaleidoscope. For any of you, okay? For higher level, standard level, they're very generic. This is a higher level expectation here. And again, as I've told you, I'm preparing you for the higher level. Even if you're going to be doing the standard level, you're going to be prepared. I want you to be very prepared. Because again, in class later on, I'll be giving you some news that these exams have all been increased in their value, and I'll be talking to you about that again today. So paper 1 here is now worth more than it was before. Again, more to come. So you can see this is where you're going to put your email. Now you are going to have a subject, and then here is where you write your email, and please, I'm also going to like to include a word count. In this case, it's 450 to 600 words. Okay, for this paper, the IB does have a word count attached to it, so I thought that would help all of us have a better understanding of what our expectations are for each other. And this is where you will write your email. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. Okay, old school. This is going to be up on Leia. So I'm just going to pause this for a moment while I show you the pages in the book and how they relate to this evaluation. So this is what pages 28 and 29 look like. As you can see, I have a digital version of the book. All right, and the graph that I took was from here. All right, so I just copied and pasted it. Now, in the writing activity here, they were more generic. I didn't think that they were particularly interesting. And again, so I chose kind of my own. But it's all right. I know what I'm doing. So 250 to 400 standard level, but I'm having you over here 450 to 600. Now this page includes more information about some basic rules. Okay, paper 1, when it comes to emails, you're expected to know what your audience is, and that's important. So perhaps I'll go back over here and remind you also to remember your audience, because that is a significant part of how you will be evaluated. And in a few minutes I can show you again what the rubric for paper 1 looks like, okay, what they're expecting from you. So brainstorm, plan, write for a specific audience. You see, this is all very IB. That's the so-called conceptual understanding, is your understanding that the audience is going to determine the language, the structure that you're going to use. In your case, you're pretending to be a student science. Okay, so your language is going to have to reflect that here. Now the next page, alright, if I just zoom on it, like a lot, alright, can tell the difference between the 3 different types of written texts for emails, okay? And the little tuck moment over here, well, how do we know who your audience is? You are over here, okay? Alright, this is what I'm expecting from you in this column over here, professional communication. On the other hand, you can also compare it to mass communication and personal communications and how the audience is different, the relationship is different, and your register or your language, okay, is different over here. So that's for that. Now let me just take a moment and show you what the grading is for the paper 1. This document is also available on Leia, and I'm going to be assessing you at the higher level when it comes to the end of the semester. So we're looking at the language. Okay, it's the first one over here. What is your command of the written language? And this is out of 12 over here. Now remember, it's mostly accurate and very effective. And this really just does look at your vocabulary, your grammatical structures, that they're varied, and the accuracy and how they contribute to effective communication, whatever that communication may be. Again, my survival strategy for this kind of thing is always to not only understand what the different criteria are, but I copy and paste these into a document, and that's what I aim for. Okay, that's what I work towards. So that's criterion A. Criterion B is the message. Here, do you fulfill the task? This is also out of 12. Your ideas are relevant to the task that you've chosen. Your ideas are fully developed with details and relevant examples. The ideas are clearly presented, and the response is structured in a logical and coherent manner that supports the delivery of the message. Alright, so here you really have to look at your ideas and the relevance to the task, the development of your ideas, and the extent to which you're organized and the organization of your ideas can help you. Criterion C is your conceptual understanding, and if I'm not mistaken, yeah, that's the last one. So there are 3 of them. Now this is only out of 6, but this is really where you determine, did you choose the correct text type? In our little practices here, I'm giving you a specific text type. I'm telling you which text type to do because my goal is still to prepare you for the evaluation. But in the real evaluation, you're going to have a choice, and some of them are more appropriate than the other. Okay, so for example, did you choose the correct text for the task, number 1? Then, is your register and everything really related to that task that you said you were going to do? So if you chose a professional email, but it's full of slang, well then, okay, you chose the professional email, that's good, but you're writing in slang, well that's not. This is where those grades can be affected over here. If you really, the conventions of a text type chosen as well. So does your email look like an email? Or does it just look like a speech? Okay, so if I go back over here, alright, now I've told you that I want you to choose an email, but in the real exam, there'll be a choice. So let's say this is your task over here, okay, and you have a choice between a professional email and, I don't know, a list of instructions or something like that. They're not always as easy to tell the difference between them. However, some of them are obviously not appropriate to the task, and that's eventually going to be part of your IB, the final evaluation there. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that these documents are shared with you in this video. I'll put that up right now, and again, I will be explaining this in class, but I think I've been very clear. And the audience, I should add it, so I'm going to add it right over here at the top. Okay, so it's going to be easy to do. You don't have to watch me do this. And anyway, alright, so everybody knows what's expected from him and her, and that's it. Be good, and I'll see you soon.